Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. This is Tori Easterling, formerly Tori Williams. I'm going to talk today about starting a career in real estate. This cast is for Georgia only. I will be doing other casts starting with Florida next. So that's that, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Telling you a little bit about me in case this is your first time tuning in to any of my casts, or if you don't follow me on any social media. I'm Real Estate Tori and the Seven Figure Realtor on Instagram, and I'm formerly Tori Williams. I'm recently married, so trying to get used to Tori Easterling. But I'm guessing around Easter time I'll have some fun with that, with flyers and whatnot. So just to give you a little bit of background about me, I've been licensed since March of 2006. I've worked for the Gore Team Realty, which was a small firm owned by my friend. I've worked for Coldwell Banker. And then I decided to switch companies. The office I worked with at Coldwell Banker, it was on the south side of Atlanta, and it was very cliquey, and the environment just wasn't conducive to what I was trying to do. So I decided to go to Keller Williams, the Brookhaven office, which is about 5 minutes north of Buckhead and Lenox Square Mall. I joined Keller Williams and I have not looked back. Once I got to Keller Williams, I decided to go ahead and get my broker's license since I did want to start a team and just learn everything that I could about real estate. And then my team, the All Access Group, I actually started the All Access Group in 2010, but I didn't do a whole lot with it, and we actually just went, live in 2015, and it's been great. Also in 2016, I obtained my Georgia instructor's license. There are lots of real estate coaches and business coaches and life coaches and a lot of people on the internet and social media coaching and instructing without any credentials. So I thought that before I start lecturing to people, that I go and get some formal training. It's very difficult in Georgia to get an instructor's license. I had to actually teach. I had to submit an application showing how many hours I've had teaching. So definitely make sure that the people that you're listening to on the internet and social media have the credentials to be instructing you. Also, I got my broker's license in Florida. I travel a lot to South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and South Beach, Miami. So I thought, why not work while you're here? And I did go ahead and do that. And I'm affiliated with Luxury Living Realty in South Beach, and they specialize in luxury properties, specifically those on Fisher Island. So I'm really loving being affiliated with them, love learning a lot, and of course enjoying getting to hang out on Fisher Island when I go to Miami Beach. So that's a little bit about me. If you have any questions about me, these slides, or anything else, you can email them to admin@sevenfiguresinrealestate.com. That's ADMIN at sevenfiguresinrealestate.com. All right, so your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. Pretty much what I was just stating there about working in Miami. I travel there a lot, so why not work? It should all go together in order for you to be satisfied. So, I am not a lawyer or an attorney. I don't work for the Georgia Real Estate Commission. So, double check everything that I say here on the Georgia license laws and licensure on the Georgia Real Estate Commission's website. It's www.grec.state.ga.us. Same here on the screen. Double check that site. It has everything that you need to know. A lot of the information that I'm going over today is not the information on the site. It breaks it down in terms of the legal requirements to get your license. That's all on the GREC website. So take a look at that if you're serious about getting your real estate license. I'm going to push past the website and go over to exam tips. So the most difficult part about getting your license, I found for most people, is the exam. People get anxiety and stressed out over the exam, and I always tell people, just calm down and don't stress about it. Stressing about it only makes it worse. And these are my tips that I give out regularly about what to do and how to pass the exam. The first thing I share with people is that you should not try to internalize the material. The real estate license course is very dense. It's a lot of information, a lot of laws. It's just a ton of information that you're trying to cover in a very short period of time. It's like trying to get a law degree in 2 weeks or 6 weeks or however long your class is. And it's just too much information to internalize and know, really, really know. So to avoid getting stressed out and trying to know everything, I suggest trying memorization instead. And one way to do that is through note cards. So get you a note card. If you want physical note cards, great. The app that I use for note cards is called Quizlet. And you basically put the term on one side of the card, the definition on the other. In real estate, some terms have very long definitions. So if you have a term or a concept that has multiple parts to it, you want to make separate cards. You don't want a card with a paragraph long definition on the back. You want the definitions to be as short and concise as possible using keywords so that when you see them on the exam, you can quickly come up with the answer. So again, if you have a word or concept that has a really long explanation, split that up into short, concise parts that will help you remember the term. So the next thing is get through the material quickly. Some people like to take the longer courses. I recommend taking the shorter courses simply because this information is just not exciting and it's not something that you want to drag on. This information, we're adult learners, so what we're learning in this class quickly leaves our brain. So the faster you get through the material, in my opinion, the better. Don't try to string it on when you finish your class. Don't go and take 2 weeks off to quote unquote study. That never happens. And then by the time you go to take your exam, you've forgotten 50% of the material. My next tip is to take the cram course. All real estate courses, towards the end, they offer a cram course. If you take your course online here in Georgia, they have lots of real estate schools that offer cram courses that you can take even if you did not take your course at that class. The Georgia Institute of Real Estate has one. Metro Brokers Academy has one. And I believe the website is learninginrealestate.com, where you can go and register for the cram courses. But start with the Georgia Institute of Real Estate, also Barney Fletcher, and go from there. Go with your first answer on the test. So when you're taking your test, don't second guess your answers. Read through all of the possible answers and you'll know, you either know it or you don't. Select your answer and move on. Don't go back and erase anything and change any answers unless you're 100% sure that the one that you've marked is incorrect. Also, a lot of people get bogged down by the math. I will say that there is no math in real estate. It's all formulas, and so you get to have a calculator. So all you need to do is memorize the formulas. Now, when you take your real estate course online or in class, the way that it's going to be taught is basically the preference of the instructor and how they understand it or how they were taught or how the course book teaches it. But if you've ever taken any kind of math in school, you know that there's more than one way to get the correct answer. So if there's a concept or a process in calculating some sort of interest or it's something like that that's not making sense to you, go onto YouTube and look up videos to get different ways of doing it. So to find percentages, there are different ways to calculate interest and change rate changes. You can look that up on YouTube, Khan Academy, Khan Academy. You can go there. They have videos and tutorials on how to do certain mathematical calculations. So do that. Don't get worried if you don't understand the way that your instructor is teaching you. The next thing is, this is a big one. The Roswell Road location. If you are taking your exam in Metro Atlanta, there's a location located on Roswell Roads. Well, there's a Roswell Road in Atlanta that is off of the 285, I-285. That is not where the testing location is. The Roswell Road for the testing location on the Go AMP site is located in Marietta, Georgia. So I've known many people to kind of time time when they're going to get to the testing center based on Roswell Road in Atlanta, and it's actually Marietta, Georgia, and they've missed their exam time, which I believe you have to pay to reschedule. So make sure you're going to the right location and map it out the day before. So those are my exam tips. The next most asked question or set of questions that I get asked about starting a career in real estate is, how much is it going to cost? How much do I how much do I have to pay altogether? It varies, but I'm going to go through some cost with you. Some are constant, they don't change. Some are optional, so I'm going to go through those. Again, if you have questions, shoot me an email. So to take your real estate pre-license course, it's going to run you between $199 and $600. So $199, that's going to be your online courses. Just to insert here about online courses, I strongly advise against taking the real estate course online unless you're like a super nerd who can sit down in front of the computer and get it done in like 2 weeks. Simply because the online course, you pay your money and they give you 6 months to complete it, and most people just never really get around to completing it. I believe the completion rate on the online course is about 12%, and the pass rate is, of that 12%, the pass rate is really low. So try to avoid the online options if possible. And then at $600, that's on the higher end. It shouldn't cost you that much at all, but just giving you a range there of how much the course should cost. If you're on the higher end, you need to make sure that you're getting books with that. I'm guessing your cram should come with that. And then I've got 2 real estate schools here. You've got the Georgia Institute of Real Estate. You've got Metro Brokers Academy. One caveat about taking your class at the Metro Brokers Academy is that when you go there and when you sign up, they will offer you a scholarship that will take the price down from $500 or $400 to around $250 to $300. There is an alternative to the scholarship. If you sign the paperwork and take the scholarship, then you'll have to sign a contract stating that you'll work for that company for 1 to 2 years. And if you want to leave, you'll have to pay them to leave. So just be aware of that. If you do want to go the Metro Brokers route and for a lower price, but do not want to commit to signing up with the company and not being tied to that contract, you can go on Groupon. They've been running a Groupon for a couple years now for $249, I believe, and just go on Groupon and search real estate courses or real estate school, and you'll get it. It's the Metro Brokers course. So that's $249. When you go in there, you just let them know up front you have the Groupon and that you're not comfortable with signing a contract. Another school, actually the top school that I don't have on here, is Barney Fletcher. Barney Fletcher, the location that I know of, is near the Cumberland Mall area in Atlanta, and they have the highest pass rate, the highest completion rate of any of the real estate schools that I know of. And I know this because I used to be a recruiter and worked on the career development side of real estate. So I know for a fact Barney Fletcher's got the best numbers in terms of completion and passing. So if you can afford to go there, they don't run many specials, but if you can afford to go there, then just go ahead and go Barney Fletcher. And then that way you don't have to pay to retake the exam if you fail because you didn't get the right training. So next, we talked about cram courses. Those run between $50 and $100. Shouldn't pay any more than $60. Just wanted to put a range there. And then after you take your class, after you take your class exam, you have to pass it with a 75, you go on to take the state exam. Right now, the state exam costs $115 to take. To take the state exam, after you've received your certificate of completion from your school, you're going to go to goamp.com and click on Georgia Examination Program, and you're going to go down to real estate salesperson, I believe, and you're going to sign up there to take your exam. Also on GoAMP, you will find a Georgia real estate candidate book. It's a very, very good download that you can get. It's free, and it basically breaks down how many questions are on the exam, what what the percentage of questions that you're going to be asked on different topics. It breaks it down really good. It gives you a few sample questions, so try that out. Also on GoAMP, they sell practice tests. I've never ordered any of them, or know anyone who has, but they do offer practice tests on there that you can take and get scores. So definitely take a look at GoAMP. I would do that before you finish your course, just so that you have your candidate handbook. And then the next thing you're going to need is a background check. That should run you between $10 to $20. Now, if you know up front before starting your class that you have something on your criminal background check, there is a way for you to submit a background clearance form to the Georgia Real Estate Commission, and they will review it and approve it or deny it before you spend money on a course and on exams. So I would recommend strongly, if you know that you have something on your background, your criminal background, just go ahead and get the clearance up front. And basically what they're looking for are things like theft and fraud. I believe they call those moral turpitude type things that, when you're a real estate agent, you have access to people's social security numbers, credit cards, addresses, their homes, and things of that nature. So they want to make sure that they're not giving licenses to individuals who shouldn't have them. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to actually pay for your physical actual license, and that costs right now $170. So this right here, this page will take care of the licensing. So this is from your pre-license course up until you actually get the license, and these are fees that you pretty much have to pay. These aren't optional fees. Now you've passed your state exam, you've got your money for your license. Now what do? If you take your exam in the morning, which I highly recommend, you can take your exam, go get you some lunch, and know what your score, know whether or not you passed that same morning or afternoon. If you pass that same day, you can go ahead and pay your fee for your license. You're going to also need to take with you a lawful presence form that you can get from your broker or off the Real Estate Commission website. You will also need a sponsoring broker form. When you activate your license, you can't just activate it and walk out with your license. You have to have already picked a broker that you're going to affiliate your license with. You can't just have a real estate license and be independent. You can have a broker's license, but you can't have just a basic real estate license. You have to be affiliated with a company like a Keller Williams or Joe Blow Broker, or whatever company you need to know, and your broker will give you the sponsoring broker form, and that lets the testing center know where to send your, where to place your license when they activate it. Affiliating with a broker, hopefully you do this before you take your test. You want to go out and you want to interview the brokers, the companies that you're interested in working with. Keep in mind that you're interviewing them. They are not interviewing you. As a real estate agent, when you close a transaction, you will have to pay some fees to the company that you're affiliated with. So you want to interview the company to make sure that they're earning their portion of your commission. You want to make sure that they have trainings. You want to make sure that they have resources and people to help you with your contracts as a new agent. You just want to make sure that they're earning their money, because they're going to get a nice chunk of your commissions when you first start out. If you're with the 100% broker where you get all of your commission, be very careful with that. They usually don't offer any services or resources to you. So interview the broker, know what your needs are, and make sure that the brokers that you choose meets those needs. Also find out about their fees and negotiate your commission splits. If you go with a large company, their splits are usually already structured. You normally have a choice, but they're already kind of set in stone, but you can negotiate your commission. Just keep in mind, as a new agent, you're walking in the door with zero in sales. So 100% of zero is zero. So don't get too bogged down on your commission split. As a new agent, your main concern should be, am I going to learn what I need to learn? And when I get that first client, are these people going to help me get to the closing table? So that's what you need to know. And then after that, you can go ahead and get to work. Now, there are more fees Some of them are optional, some of them are not, but just going to go through those as well. You've got board dues. So you've got the Atlanta Board of Realtors, the Cobb Board of Realtors, the National Association of Realtors, the Georgia Association of Realtors. And mine run me about $475 a year here in Georgia and about $600 a year in Florida. Now, you want to make sure when you're talking to your broker, ask them if you are required to be affiliated with a board. If you are working with a reputable company that has a reputation, they most likely will require that you be affiliated with a board. When you affiliate with a board, you get ethics training, you get the title of realtor. There is a difference between a realtor and a licensed real estate agent. Realtors they're affiliated with the board. I'm affiliated with the Atlanta Board, the Georgia Board, and the National Association of Realtors. And I have to undergo ethics training every 4 years. I have to take certain classes, and there's just a higher standard for realtors than there are real estate agents. So check and make sure that you're affiliating with the correct board, and find out from your broker which one. You also have to get business cards. Most brokers provide a new set for free. If you have been thinking about real estate for a while, you know that there are blue lock boxes on homes that are for sale. Those are digital, and they are read with Bluetooth signals between your cell phone and the box, and that runs about $15 a month if you have it on your phone. If you don't want it on your phone, there is a key that looks like a beeper that you can get, and that runs about $100 twice a year in April and October. If you get your license in between those months, then it's prorated, so just keep that in mind. Office fees. So once you affiliate with your company, you're also going to have monthly office fees. These are usually not negotiable. You have office fees that range from $80 to around $130. Some may be higher, some may be lower, but this is what I've had in my career. And that basically covers your phone fees, your technology fees, your insurance, your MLS fees. The broker just puts a lot of the costs that they have for having you as an agent with the company. They put those fees in one bucket and charge you a monthly fee of $80 to $130 a month. Again, it can be higher or lower, but that's just what I've experienced in my almost 11 years. Next, there's also their desk fees. So if you go into the company and you want to have your own dedicated workspace within your office, you normally will have to pay for that. Offices do have common areas with computers and printers and things of that nature, and maybe small cubes that you can use. But if you want your own private space or dedicated space in the office, you're usually going to have to pay for that. In my experience, it ranges, actually I've seen some as low as around $50 a month to over $150 a month. I've not paid over $150, but I'm sure some offices do charge more for their office space. That's optional. You do not need an office. In my opinion, as a new agent, you should start off working only in the common areas. That way you get to kind of rub shoulders with the experienced agents. You get to hear them doing business. You get to learn the lingo that they're using. Oftentimes the language that's used in real estate courses is not the same language used in real life out in the field. So hang out in the common areas when you first get started. It's fun, and if you have questions, you can turn around and ask. And so I think that that's just better versus isolating yourself early on. Also, you could choose to pay for some personal advertising. That's up to you. That's optional. I'm very minimalist when it comes to advertising. I think that there are other ways to make money versus just throwing money at websites and things of that nature. Some things are necessary, and I'll do another Periscope or video on that, on advertising. Lockboxes. If you are going to be representing a seller and you already have one lined up as a new agent, you're going to need to buy the actual blue box to go on someone's door. And those run, I think those run about $80 or $90. You can also rent them, and you can go to your broker and let them know, hey, I'm a new agent. Do you know anyone who can loan me a lockbox? So that's a cost that you may not have to pay up front because you may not have a seller client up front. Same thing goes with signs. They run between $20 to $60. Signs that go in yards, you only need that once you have a seller client. And then you have open house signs. Now, open houses, chances are as a new agent, you'll be hosting an open house for someone else's property, which means that there will be like a lead agent. And most of the time, they have their own open house signs and you can borrow those. I'm all about spending as little money as possible starting out because all of these fees add up and you go into the business at a huge deficit. So, moving on to some frequently asked questions that I get asked. The first one, the main one, is how long will it take me to get my first paycheck? I go by the 3 to 6 months rule of thumb. I really like to say 6 months. That way, when you get in the business, you're not stressed the first month if you don't have a closing, or the second month. It could take up to 6 months depending on how well you're working, how much you're working, what you're doing when you're working, and things of that nature. So it could take 3 to 6 months. So if you're quitting a job or you've been laid off, you need to make sure that you'll be able to survive for at least 3 months, if not 6, before you get your first paycheck. The next question I get asked is how much will I get paid? Again, this varies, but on average, your commission is going to be around 3% of the sales price of the property, and that can vary. It goes up and down, but I like to use 3%. That's a pretty solid number to use. So on a $250,000 house, which is average, your commission will be around $7,500. Now that's your gross commission before your broker takes out any fees. So if you're on a 70-30, you want to deduct 30% from that $7,500. Same thing, $200,000 house, you'll get $6,000. So that should lead you in the right direction in terms of figuring out your goals and how many properties you'll need to close and at what price point you'll need to close them to reach your desired income goal. Just to give you an idea of what normal or the average is in the real estate industry right now across the board, to be a top agent, you need to close 25 or more transactions a year, and that's based on average sales prices. Now, if you're doing luxury, you can get there faster, but generally around 25 average sales per year or more, and that puts you in the top. You're probably thinking that's not a lot. That's just a couple closings a month, and you're right. It does not take a whole lot to excel in this industry, simply because a lot of agents, they don't work, they have a closing, they go on vacation, have a closing, go on vacation. Funds get tight, they work and then drum up more business, and then when things are good, they kind of take a break. So the competition, while it seems like a lot, is very scarce. The majority of the agents don't work full throttle, full time, year round. So really easy to meet that 25 plus transactions a year to be a top agent in the market. Same thing with the average earnings. The average earnings of real estate agents are about $42,000 a year. Again, not much. The agents, they may make $10,000 in 1 month, but then they don't work for 3 months. And then when their $10,000 starts to run out, they start working again, drumming up business, and then they go on to make another $10,000. A lot of agents take off during winter months. They kind of go into hibernation mode. I strongly advise against that. If you pick up those habits, you will definitely fall into the under 25 closings a year and $42,000 income, which I know is not what you had in mind when you got your real estate license. So next question, should I go with a small broker or a large company? It's your choice. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it's important to go with a broker that has the resources to train you and to nurture you to be successful in the business. So if you go with a company, they pay you or they give you 100% of your commission, but they're not training you and they don't have an office, they don't have a training calendar, they don't have things of that nature, then go with the company that has a commission split. It's just smarter, and again, 100% of zero is zero. So if you're not making any money because you don't have the resources and training, then you won't have any money to split, which is why they're okay with you having 100%. So if you need assistance with selecting a broker or anything that you've seen in this cast, please let me know at admin@sevenfiguresinrealestate.com. Please take a moment to go to Instagram. That's my main social media platform, and follow at Seven Figure Realtor. I'm also at _real estate Tori_ on Instagram, but that's more of my personal page for clients and friends and family. If you want specific real estate advice, follow the Seven Figure Realtor. You can follow both if you like, and that's it. So the next steps are to get in class, take your exam, pay for your license, and get signed up. I've got with Keller Williams here. You don't have to join Keller Williams, but if you are interested in joining Keller Williams, I can definitely talk to you about that. That's the company that I am affiliated with, and as I mentioned before, I was at a few other companies and things just were not going well, and I decided to switch to Keller Williams, and my life has never been the same. I am having just the best years ever. Year after year, I'm topping the previous year. So I definitely love Keller Williams and can talk to you more about that if you're interested. Thank you so much for tuning in. You all have a great day.